If you want to learn how to get some merits and technically kill some players in Age of Empires Mobile, don't you worry, because that's what today's video is all about. We're going to be looking through this big old clip that I've put together from Golden Expedition, which was Empire 64 versus Empire 22. Big shout out and GG to the Empire 22 for their efforts too, because what you're going to see is basically what was used on both sides. Both ourselves, Empire 64 and Empire 22, was utilizing everything that you're going to be seeing in these clips, from farm killing, attacking cities, and technically disrupting during events, because that's what you're going to need to do if you want kills and technically merits as a free-to-play and low spender. So smash like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, this is going to be all recorded technically in timeline order, so we're going to go through this clip by clip, and it will be a little bit jumbled at times, which I do apologize. I have tried to structure it the best way I can. So with that, let's get into the video, right? So at the beginning, you can see is all getting into position, which is kind of finding your targets. And the best way to try and find these is actually looking around the Empire, maybe in the Zone 2 areas and not in the main Kingsland, for these massive farm hives, as you can see. And you can see how good these farm hives are from, look, all those farm tiles there. There's 5 already on screen, which is probably getting everyone's lips juicy here. But the one thing which is really important to know is this setup right here. If you're going to be invading, and technically if you are trying to defend, this type of setup does seem a bit scary at first. But you got to remember, this is a lot of towers at the outer shell. You're going to be going more internally, and the more internally you're going to go, there's going to be less and less watchtowers, because they've put so many out in the outer region. And you're going to see this happen when we start getting a bit deeper into the gameplay. So when you see this type of action, just remember, these watchtowers, which might look daunting there, right scary, right in front of you, as soon as you walk past them, especially in a raiding party, don't worry about it. You're going to be good as golden. So with that, we're now into the zone. And as you can see, we are now using our march. This is basically using our Lubu march to its most effectiveness. If you guys don't have a Lubu march, definitely start working on it, because it is fantastic, as you can see, at killing tiles. So every time you want to kill a tile, you want to hit loot, and you can see your march will start to go and loot it. And all you need to do is let him do the damage and then pull straight off. You don't want to be getting your technically Lubu put onto a tile, because then you're going to be kind of stuck during that timer, which is just silly to do, right? So just going to go through that again. This is just a little bit more of farm killing. Your target aim for this is free to plays, is trying to get free kills. But you got to remember, every time you go into one of these areas, if your plan is to farm kill, you need to be careful for one thing, because some players, depending on their power level in that alliance, will place full marches. So if they place a full 120k march on one of these tiles, they are basically trapping you into trying to fight them. And they know, because you're free to play, maybe a low spender, trying to farm kill to get your merits for the action, their march should blow yours up really quickly and give you a really bad negative trade, and maybe alert them that there's a farm killer in the region. So be prepared for that. That's just a little tip and trick for this. Luckily, you don't see that happen so far in these clips, but I did to mention it while we go through them. So again, just going through each loot, and then basically keep moving on. So we are going to go through some more tips and tricks to do with farm killing and open field scenarios, because you do want to take advantage of what's going on. As you can see in these clips, as they're going to progress, we're going to be scouting cities. We are going to be attacking cities like this one right here as a prime example of a juicy city ready to be taken. Because if you've not guessed why this is a good city to attack, not because of the 3.7 million troops ready to grab for everyone, It's the fact that the defense heroes on the wall. When you look at the defensive heroes, this is super important. There is a really good video, and it should be maybe in the link as well if I put it down there, from TME, who did a bunch of actually testing on your Citadel wall. And you want to kind of put up your best heroes on there, and you don't particularly need to keep a best formation. So you could do something, for example, like a Lubu, a Mulan, and maybe you do put on an Attila or like a Timur or something like that on there, right? And it kind of synergizes with both. But by doing that, you do actually maximize the most amount of damage, which is really interesting. The thing that's scary is the wall needs DPS heroes and your highest leveled basic heroes. So because of that, yes, these guys are going to be prime targets. The level 120, the level 77, and level 1 on the Julius Caesar, and they basically aren't even breaking above 1 stars. So this is just a prime example of a city that you could be easily swarming here for your archers. And the way you want to swarm this is quite good, especially if you're a free-to-play player. This is a really good example of doing it. You will see my troops are kind of positioned to the side because I'm going to be trying to attack second, maybe third in turn, because you want your main Kraken, your main whale, who is in the raiding party, to attack first, because once he's taken the brunt force and actually dealt the most amount of damage in the beginning, you'll see that you can actually take a bunch of damage yourself, right? So you can see me now coming into the fight once this enemy's wall was around 75% HP, going towards 50% HP, and I'm going to get positive trades. Just remember, the lower you go between that 50% and 75% threshold, it does mean you're going to have better trades on your end because you're going to lose less troops, but you are going to earn less merits because there's less troops to actually kill. So there is a trade-off for doing earlier or later in that bracket threshold, right? So you can see us here attacking a city, and the basic fundamentals, if you guys have not guessed it, is attacking and pulling off. Attacking and pulling off. I know it sounds a bit stupid and a lot of people don't get this, but what's really interesting, if you watch when I pull off my march here, even when you pull off, you are looting the city still. For some reason, for so many seconds, the game allows you to keep looting, which is really good, because then as you are waiting for the cooldown of the building to go off, then you can attack again, right? So you'll know when the cooldown happens because your report will happen, as well as the city kind of commander should disappear too. So then you know to attack again. And this is all you got to repeat. Repeat this as a good old citizen. And the thing is, you're going to see a later example of us attacking another city and someone not following this, and what could potentially happen if you're not paying attention, right? So hopefully you've enjoyed these first couple of clips, which is obviously a little bit of tile hitting, a little bit of attacking cities, as well as some battle reports. We do have some more juicy clips that is going to be happening, including these siege marches, which does come up after here, including some more battle reports to kind of judge your guys' knowledge so far, if it's a good target or if it's a bad target, as well as some more fun clips. So if you've enjoyed it so far, smash like, comment, and subscribe, right? So coming into this clip to do with siege, this is one thing you always need to be prepared for if you are attacking cities, if you are attacking farms, tiles, whatever it is, if you are out of the city and you're going to attack them, because you need someone, and big shout out to Raph who's doing it for us, to be on kind of siege and defensive duty, right? And a lot of the time your big Kraken and your whales are able to do this, right? They can send 3 marches, maybe the 4th march, out there and do most of the work and keep 1 march back in their city. And I would advise the same thing. If you are going on these raiding parties, maybe send 2 marches, but try to keep another march back ready, which is your siege march, which we've been telling you guys to be building for the last couple of weeks now. So if you've not been building it, you are missing out on this powerful siege march, which you will be seeing later on down the road, right? Because the thing is, if you are out, like you can kind of see us here, you could be in a really bad situation, especially in a PvP scenario. Imagine you are in this little cluster here, maybe against Empire 40 or one of the other big competitive empires, and Sates or someone drops in, right, into this area and just starts to absolutely obliterate you. She caught you with literally your pants down, and you deserve it. So it is about keeping aware of the situation on hand, right? And this is really important to kind of learn, and you only get this from experience. And the only kind of maybe tip I could say or advice I can give to you as a free-to-play player, maybe a low spender that's not really done this before, make sure you're not alone. Just make sure you're always in your alliance chat. You're always in some sort of VC with the players that are doing this. And even if you're not talking, just listen in. Listen to what's going on and actually join them in that party. Because if you're in a party, it's a lot better than being on your own, right? So with that, let's go back to kind of a little bit more of the fun. Obviously, killing people, killing cities, and obviously the reports that are on screen. But we will be going backwards and forwards from that siege march because it does do some nasty damage when we get to see the triple on them, right? So got Milelo here, got 2.5 million troops on his wall. And the thing is, just like before in the other reports, which I didn't kind of grab here, but he did have 1-star heroes, 1-star Darius and so on. Totiyomi was on there. It's just not a good wall at all. So he was a prime target, just like the earlier report with the Leonidas and the other 1-star and 0-star heroes that was on there, including Julius Caesar, right? Absolutely mental. So if you are wondering, or have you been asking yourself, Sneakyy, what are good cities? What are good marches to actually hit these cities? Because I'm getting shafted. Hopefully this little like intro part has kind of taught you that, right? Trying to scout the cities first, because if you scout them, you're going to find out what the hell's on that wall. And if it's an absolute terrible wall, you should be in the clear to kind of go in with a team of players to attack. Never attack alone, right? So from here, you can kind of see some more siege play, and I kind of want to showcase this off because I'm going to be putting this into a future video, so keep an eye on it. It might be coming out tomorrow as a little spoiler, but it is about siege and how much damage, if we go on, the siege machines do. This is showcasing a battering ram plus 3 trebuchets hitting that one city, and if you are not destroying those trebuchets in time, you gotta say goodbye to your city. And you gotta think, in Golden Expedition, especially if the event is about to happen, this could have cost you like maybe your players because it might be in the other zone and you can't teleport now. If you're in Mightest Empire, this could have cost you because you can't teleport into the center anymore. Maybe you're in Desolate Desert and you get teleported again and now you can't be in the main fight where you need to be. And it is going to cost you, right, in your alliance and your empire in the grand scheme of a big player potentially not being in the open field. So I kind of want to emphasize that with this clip and showcase, look at how much damage can be done on there. However, Wrath with the siege march of marchers is up there doing the Lord's work. Look how much it's chonking down, guys. It's chonking down that thing. It's crazy here. So here we go. We got some actual more reports. I'm going to go through some reports of here. This was one city that you might be inclined to attack. You could do this more on your own if you have the power. If you're only running 2 marches or 1 marches, you couldn't solo this. You're going to need, again, maybe 2 or 3 players all attacking this all at once because it's 847k troops. So you've got to try and either match that or at least be around 75% of the troops. That's I kind of like to be, and then you know you're gonna be safe. Otherwise, you just need someone. Obviously, the easy cheat way out is get a Kraken with you, and the Kraken's going to do most of the damage for you. It is a good example of a city war you could attack. Miyamoto 1-star, the Hammurabi is 1-star as well, with the Josephine going to 2-star. They're all level 120 heroes, but again, this won't do too much damage to you on the wall. So this would be actually an okay target to attack. But again, I wouldn't actually go for this one just because of the troops isn't really worth it if you go in for the grand scheme of things. So what you'll notice in the next clip is we attack someone else running a Josephine wall, and that Josephine wall was absolutely terrible. It was like 1 star again across the board, just like the earlier ones, and because of this, we get a 2.8 million troop bounty instead of 847k. And you can kind of see the common theme here with all these cities that we're trying to attack. Most of them are basically either farm accounts or bad accounts. And because of them being farm accounts or bad accounts with 1 star only walls, you can generate reports like this, which is absolutely devastating. And this is a report from Raf. A big shout out to Raf, who you saw being part of the defense team for the siege machines. He was with the 3 main marchers in our raid team with his big power marchers, so he was able to do a lot of the main brunt damage, so myself and other players can then join in like I've been explaining from the beginning. And the way you got to think about this is, as you've been attacking, the whale goes in, the medium spenders go in, and like the low and free-to-play players come in at the end, right? The way this plays out is each of you guys are sharing a little bit of the burden, and this report kind of showcases that. Obviously, there's losses, 162k losses, but in order to get 162k losses for Raf, he needs to make sure that this patch's hospital is full. So you got to think, as a medium spender and maybe a lower and free-to-play spender, your report might look a little bit different at the start of the fights, especially at the start of the swarms. And as you keep repeating and repeating the swarms, you will start to see the trend swap into your favor again, because you need to fill up the hospital in order to get these absolutely devastating deaths. And you're going to see this towards the end of this video with myself kind of hitting one city with someone else and seeing that merit report kind of go up on top, right? So I kind of want to make that clear for you guys. A really good example of kind of not extruding the full picture, because a lot of people just think because there's 162 dead, he's done all of the work. He hasn't, right? He's done partial of the work, while the team has given him the ability to do that, because you can't get deads without the full fucking hospital. People don't forget that, right? So absolute bonkers damage though. Big shout out to this. Big bonkers damage for this match. Just so people could be like, what the hell, in the comment section. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it out there, but this is going to be part of another video in the future. So coming back into kind of like tile attacking now, kind of some philosophies you want to take advantage of. So remember, here you can see I'm only using 1 march, and there is a reason to do this, because if I'm using 1 march, obviously it's a lot easier to get back. And I know it sounds a bit crazy, but it is, because you're not waiting around for the speed of your other marchers. Cavalry in this game are the fastest units, so if you're going to tile attack, make sure you're using cavalry. That's either a Lubu march as number 1, maybe the Belisarius march with Hannibal and so forth as number 2, and like El Cid and Robin Hood and so on as number 3 as at the moment, right? And just think, with cavalry, all you're trying to do is get around as fast as possible and kill these units. And once you've killed them, you want to pull your units, as you're going to see here, into kind of like a safe zone. So you can see this bush right in front of me. I'm going to be hiding in there, just because what you want to do as a free-to-play player with this march is try to take as much time and be kind of like a vulture and opportunistic in your attacks. And you'll see some of these in a second, right? Because when you are hiding away, especially in the bushes, you should remember you're invisible. People don't remember that. You're invisible. And when you're invisible, you can do some cool stuff like this, which is scouting the cities to find out some new information to raid with your fellow members, again, to get some more actual merits on your account. And we've got 3 reports we're going to go through, and I want to see what your guys' opinions are going to be, because this is the first report. It's 2.7 million troops, which is a super juicy city, but you do have an El Cid at 2 stars, a Richard at 2 stars, and a Totiome going on 2.5 stars there, all of the 120 heroes. And I want to hear right now what you guys think about this. You could probably pause the video, timestamp it if you want. write out your comment, and then we're back at it. Because honestly, this is a scary one. And I know it might not sound it, but it is for the medium and low spenders. If you're going to attack this city without someone, especially a big, strong player like a whale who has at least one march with you to kind of deal that brunt force of damage, what you're going to notice is heroes like this El Cid here is actually going to deal quite a lot of damage because he is doing secondary strike skills. Totiome is whatever it is, and Richard is going to do some work, but it would have been better to see someone else, right? If you had like a Cyrus on there instead, or even a Vlad maybe, with a Cyrus on the wall and maybe El Cid, that would have worked 100% better too, I'm just saying, in different regards. But this one formation, the only thing you got to be wary of is that El Cid, because if we attack it, we are going to take some massive losses, which we don't want to be doing, right? Moving on to the second city is actually going to be a little bit more juicy. We've got 1.87 million troops with a 2-star King Derek, a 3-star Miyamoto, and a 3.5-star Josephine. And this one, again, is on the borderline of could you attack it? And again, let me know your thoughts in the description down below, because we do miss this one. We actually avoid this one because we didn't want to take Raph out the fight. Raph was already swarming some cities, and if he came to this, we would have came to it too. But the thing is, with this march, it is kind of a little bit synergistic because of the setup potentially on that Josephine that is going to be dealing might, and then obviously maybe Sunder through the double attacks, and that can trigger the good old King Derek, and that does increase the amount of might damage you take. And Miyamoto being 3-star isn't actually any joke. He will do a decent amount of damage. Is it enough to maybe cripple you? No. But the thing is, what you'll notice, because you will attack this by yourself, especially in this scenario that I'm in, maybe you're running 1 march, 2 marches. If you attack it with your 2 marches, you're going to get obliterated. So in this scenario, you're going to be wanting to attack this again as a raid party. You're going to need 8 to 10 marches to try and attack this. All really good marches so you can blow out the early damage because of the troops, right? You want to reduce that troop count as fast as possible so the damage from these heroes doesn't actually scale up, right? So coming into the last one is Chelios 2. And this is the most terrifying one of the bunch, as you can probably imagine. There is a 4-star Josephine, a 4.5-star Joan of Arc, and a 4-star YSS. And a lot of people will tell you, in Apex Arena, YSS actually does deal a good amount of burst damage, and that's actually true to the wall too. If you're a free-to-play player, maybe with like a 3 slot and you don't know what to do with it on your wall, if you've got a 4 or 5-star YSS, this guy really does hit hard, and they might question you twice if you get hit by the burst damage of this hero. And the thing is, Joan of Arc is okay. It would have been better to replace this hero, but the thing is, what you'll notice is because of how highly starred they are, it is going to actually make it so the trade that you're going to go for isn't that good. It's actually going to be brutal, and you're going to feel this every single time, especially if they had more troops. We are lucky in this scenario that is 1.4 million troops and not 3 million, because if it was like 3 million troops, I would have been absolutely terrified right now, because if this guy hits me, I'm going to tell you, my troops would lose a good massive chunk, and that is kind of detrimental, because you got to think, as a free-to-play player, you want to be out there in the open field attacking as long as you can with that 1 march. As soon as it dies after maybe 2 attacks, you're not really getting too much value out of it, right? So this is a really good example now of me being in that city bush, as you can see, after scouting those cities and finding some information, which is just right there in frame, and seeing this player doing some a bit spicy. He was trying to do his own little PvE event, and like I said, as a free-to-play player, you need to be completely opportunistic. I know right now, you're telling me I'm a degenerate. Sneakyy, why are you doing this? You're an absolute degen. I get it. But listen, this is what you have to do if you're a free-to-play player. You need to find these scenarios where you're able to hide and see these guys maybe come online during this online time, as you see people are clearly playing the game and thinking it's safe to do something. And as they go to do it, bam, out of the shadows, you take them out and get some free points, because you got to think, these are still good marchers, right? They're going to be probably between 16, maybe to 20, 50k total troops. Even if they're 100k total troops, with your Lubu march, if you're doing a Lubu like me, I've only got a 3-star setup. And look at it, it just blows them up instantly, and it stops them from doing anything. So this is just showcasing a bit of opportunity to me going back in there, right? So this is Sneakyy, and this is the first report, if you remember me talking about how much damage El Cid can do. And look at how low my good old Lubu already is on this march. And I just went from 81,000 to 75. I just lost 6,000 troops in that trade. And it's just showcasing how much damage, honestly, secondary strike skills and actually good heroes on the wall can actually do, and the difference between someone who can actually deal good consistent damage to the enemy compared to someone that doesn't really do that at all, right? So you can see here when we go into the battle report, my losses and kind of things look a little bit lopsided, but it will make sense as we kind of go through it, because we've got only 8 losses there to his 0 randomly, I know. But if we go on to this report, this is where you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier on. I actually lost 17k troops. However, for some reason, it's in the favor, 1 to 7.7 ratio. He got over 227k lightly wounded, but to the hospital, 53.4k gravely wounded troops. That's what's key here, right? Because in the next attack, in the next fight, because I'm going to be attacking this guy and his gravely wounded are obviously filling up his hospital's going to get maxed out. He's only going to get deads next. And this is when my trades go into a lot more favor. And this is what I have to try to kind of explain, because I know it's a little bit hard to get to grips with, especially if you're a free-to-play player for the very first time. But you're going to see here, we go in again, and you can see a little bit of a different, a result here, because of, again, we're coming in at 50% like you should be doing as a free-to-play player. We're coming in, boom, 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 we're doing some good old damage, and then everyone is coming offline, right? Really fucking good. That's kind of what we want. And you'll see, hopefully, when I click on it, the report for this, right? And it's much better in my result. Again, it's a bit weird on that first one, but victory, there we go. 5.9k to his 14,000. And I know it's still a lot of troops for me, 5.9k, but just think, if you're a free-to-play player, you have specialized on a Lubu match, you honestly should have a better Lubu match than I do. I'll be completely transparent with you. You should really have a better Lubu match. So mine's just showcasing, look at how much technically damage I'm able to do after we've filled up the hospital of that player. And it's one thing many people need to learn, because when they go into these attacks and then they start to see these reports, they get a little bit scared because they think, oh no, it's not going well. However, you've not understood. You need to fill up the hospital. You need that maxed out before full deads start to appear, and that's where the true points and the real trades start to happen. And this is how all the best players honestly get their kills. They fill up your hospitals first, and then they kill you with your main troops. So that is just kind of like a full showcase, a kind of like a nice way to kind of almost end the video there, right? So as we were coming back home and just kind of like make it a like last minute clip or so of this, we saw this happening. And again, as I said, as a free-to-play player earlier on, what's the number one thing? Being opportunistic. You need to be kind of vulture out there and take advantage of this, because I had no clue what I was watching. I was in hysterics. We had players here using Joan of Arc, Darius, all with archer units. Cleo with archer, all of them was archer-based units. So they dropped like flies in front of that Lubu. So this just kind of showcases that on there, as well as a nice little tip and trick, which people don't realize too, including Steve, who tried to call me out. When you are in a bush like this, and you are actually hidden with that purple tag, you'll see the watchtower will not target you. This is actually a nice little tip and trick. The only time it will target you is if the eye is red, and that means you've already been seen in vision from doing some sort of action. The only time to actually get this to attack you is to either come out of the bush right now, so you can see it's in vision and you're the only one to be targeted. Or, as you're going to see me do, hopefully, attack the guy, right? You can actually attack the tower and you'll get it. So here you can see now, like, I'm not getting attacked at all because I'm inside. Steve's getting attacked right now. And if I go to attack the tower, it will go on to me instead, right? But we're perfectly chilling right now. Look, nothing's happening. So that's a nice little tip and trick to you. So that's everything. That's honestly all the clips that I've got for you today. Hopefully, you learned from it. Obviously, this was Golden Expedition between Empire 64 versus Empire 22. It was super fun. And if you guys wondered, yes, Empire 22 actually won. They pulled it out of the bag in the final hours. So GG to you guys. It was actually super close. It was super fun. And honestly, both empires were using everything you saw today in today's video, which was tile hitting, using raid parties, getting together as an alliance to go and attack these farming cities and get the maximum amount of points by scouting correctly, finding those walls with really bad heroes on to actually get those trains that you want, and then understanding, obviously, the battle report system that you do need to fill up the enemy's hospital before you get the deads for your empire. So hopefully you've learned something in today's video. Let me know if you want me to do more of these videos. Put it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button with the notification bell, because you'll know whenever a video or when I go live come up. It'll just pop up. It's kind of cool. It's YouTube. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. So until the next one, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.